beyond Gray or Bradford?
No. We had some guys stay back and played in the minor league game today, Tavares and Smitty, just because I didn't have time. Bats for them here, so they got a ton of at-bats down here, and Ahmed is one of them too. So that's why it's been broken up.
What is your most realistic hope for Patrick Corbin in this rotation?
I mean, if he's, once he gets in the rotation, gives quality starts, gives a chance to win. I'll keep it simple with that. I've seen a lot of Patrick, being in the National League West, and I know last year really looked like he made some adjustments and had a great second half, and numbers were really good. He wants to pitch, and now you look at our situation, so it gives us depth, and so it's up to us to get him ready and see what we have. And we lost that depth that we talked about when you lose two starters. Now we're trying to build it back up.
So it took Lorenzen 3 starts in the minors. Is that? Are you anticipating a similar?
Yeah, I talked to him today. He's been throwing. He threw a bullpen today. I think he's had 4 ups, 20 pitches each one. Up and downs, and so he's thrown 80 pitches. Now it's a little bit different, and once you get the game situation, but still, in fact, he's been throwing the whole time. I don't know if it would take 3. I don't, but I can't answer that until he goes out the first time, so we can see where he's at.
He's a guy who throws a lot of innings. He's had 30-plus starts each of the last 7 full seasons. That's obviously the biggest plus, but statistically, what do you expect to get from him outside of the innings?
And I'll say it again, just give us a chance to win. That's what we're looking for. Now, we can say, yeah, we need innings, but we need quality innings. That's how you win games. And he's a pro. He's again. Last year, it looked like he made that adjustment we're talking about. I haven't had a chance to talk to him about it, but anyway, that's what we're looking for, and that's why he's with us, to give us not just depth but quality innings, which we may need. I know he talked about Gray's situation in Bradford, so we need some help here early.
How does his presence impact the status of Wilder and Rocker?
Well, I'll say this: it's staying competitive. We're going to go with the guys who are throwing the best. Yeah, those two, I think, could stay in the rotation the whole year. It's up to them really, and so if something happens, when you get a guy like Corbin, who, if we think we need him to make us a better rotation, then he's going to be in there. So but he was signed to pitch in this rotation, and so we'll see where we're at once he gets ready, how he's throwing, and the 2 kids you're talking about.
Here's a narrative, right? We know you need innings. That's clear. You need innings. And that's clearly the number of his that stands out over the last 4 years. But the results have been poor. Even when you break it down into the second half last year, there were 1 or 2 starts that stick out that really make the numbers not great. The ERA and those kind of numbers. On the other hand, you've got top pitcher taken in consecutive drafts in the clubhouse. But you're not guaranteed to go with them. What does that say about them?
Oh, I don't think it's sent a message that they're not going to be in a rotation. Okay. I think what we're saying is, we're looking at those two. Something happened somewhere else. We needed we felt like we could use another experienced starter possibly, and so hopefully the message is that we're going to go with our best guys. if it's those two, they are in there. Doesn't matter where you're drafting this game, or, I mean, that was a few years ago. It doesn't matter what you did last year. We're looking at, guys will help us get to where we want to go this year, and that's the best starting five we can have.
Where's Adrian Hauser in this mix?
He's part of the discussion as far as this bullpen. You're talking about starting. I mean, sure, he has done it, and so is that a possibility? Yeah, we're not ruling anything out right now, but yeah, he's a guy that's in camp with experience. We're taking a look at.
He's done it a while. He's done it a lot.
Right.
How many guys would you say are still in the mix for the rotation?
Oh, well, Garabito threw 4 today, so he's back over here. He had a good, solid effort, so I'll mention him. You don't rule out somebody like Dunning. He's done it. A guy like Murphy's come in camp, and he's throwing the ball well. He's gone 3 innings. He'll pitch tonight, so we're just staying open-minded. When you have 2 injuries, I think you have to. You can't. You're not. These are spots that will be earned, and that's how we're looking at it.
You weren't Toyota open-minded, are you?
Well, he's not stretched out, but he will start. Yeah. We told him same thing we told Garabito. Just because you're going down doesn't mean that you're out of the picture. This was to give him consistent work. We sent Garabito, and now he came back over and helped us today.
I mean, I know the way you phrase it is you need quality innings. I would counter by saying you just need innings. You need a guy who can soak up some innings, even if the numbers are ugly, because you've got so many other guys you've got to back up with bullpen guys. Is that fair to say?
Well, there are games, yes, that's fair to say. Yeah, you got to leave a guy out there. Oh, yeah. You hate to say it, but there's times you got to give up a game and, say the rest of the bullpen, save their arm. So, yeah, you got to have, usually 2 of those guys. It could be a starter, you got the ball, you're staying out there because we don't have help for you.
But I mean, there's value in that if you've got to protect your other guys. There's value.
Oh, I think he could be the most valuable guy on the staff, the guy that eats those innings and, saves everybody else and keeps them fresh. Oh, yeah. You need that guy.
And in a worst-case scenario, you're confident that Patrick Corbin can do that.
Worst case, yes. Oh, yes. He's done it. I mean, look at his durability. I mean, he's 31 starts every year. He's healthy. He hasn't had any issues, and so no doubt that he could do that.
But how was it, Joey? How were his at-bats today?
He smoked a couple balls very well. One right-handed, first pitch, he lined center, and then left-handed, smoked another one. Smitty had some good at-bats, had a long home run. So overall, yeah, it was a very productive day, I thought, for them. They got a ton of at-bats. They were jumping in there.
So how is center field in your view right now?
How is it?
Yeah, how are the candidates?
Well, we have some good candidates, with Tavares and Carter. Pilar could be in the mix too against left-handers. So this is why we play this thing out.
What have you seen, or have you liked what you've seen from Evan over the last 2 weeks or so since he's
I think this
started?
past week, it's really picked up for him. He's getting better swings off, making harder contact. I think early, he was trying to find his way with his timing, but no doubt it's been better.
You've got a week left in camp. You feel like there's a realistic scenario where you can find proper playing time for both Carter and Tavares?
Yeah, we'll use minor leagues for this.
No, I mean in the regular season.
In the regular season.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a workable situation. However we work this, whoever is with us, yeah, it's very workable.
Do you think that Carter would be better served in a platoon role for now or in playing the minor league?
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna go there with him, this kid. That's a fair question, I think, that, is talked about, but, we're gonna go with the guys who are gonna give us the best chance to win. If it's against a right-hander, if it's a platoon, then that's what you do. And so, he brings a lot of things to a team. Not just to bat, but he's very good defensively. He's the fastest runner on the team. So a lot of things that play a part into this. And number one is, what's going to be our best team out there against right-handers?
But how do you determine which one plays against a right-handed pitcher?
Whoever's playing the best, who's swinging the best.
How do you determine who plays against a left-handed pitcher?
Well, that will be determined which way we go at the end. So
Meaning Pollard?
we haven't picked a team yet.
I'm aware of that.
Okay. So you're asking me a question I can't answer because I don't know the 26-man roster right now. It's
But you-
being discussed daily.
You get where we're coming from. I mean, you can do whatever you want with everything, but on the right against left-handers, you've clearly got a guy in camp who's two guys who are right-handed hitters who can serve against left-handers if you need to, and that gives Carter the necessary time off for whatever breaks and whatever maintenance of the back. But against right-handers, they almost profile as similar guys. So I don't know how you solve that. That's why you're Solomon.
Well, that's why we're having these discussions every day too, and as we get closer here and decide which way we're going to go. All these things come into play. I'll just start. I mean, with what an incredible staff I have here. These guys, I mean, they are workers. They're smart, really good at what they do, and they coach hard, and they spend a lot of hours here. And they've been a pleasure. And we had to make some changes, and Pike, he has stepped in. He's done a great job. Teagues and JV, Bealey, Justin Bealey, and all of them. We get along well. Sit around, talk a lot of baseball, and just a really a wonderful staff to be around. And I can say the same about the media that I'm with. They're just a wonderful group.
See, now you're going to lie. I mean,
No, it's
You're
like-
lying. PR guy's the only problem. So, I didn't hear Evan's question. Let's stop, not about the coaches, the one before that. Do we have any roster moves here? Is that what led to the delay?
delay of what?
Well, you're a little late.
Well, we had two meetings, a hitters meeting and a pitchers meeting
Uh-huh.
in there.
Okay.
We had our staff meeting, and then we were talking, but D-Rob, we have made a move with him. He's been optioned down.
you're meeting
Oh.
with who? I'm sorry.
D-Rob.
Drew?
Yeah, Robert,
Daniel Roberts.
You don't know D-Rob?
I thought you were talking about maybe that Drew Robinson was in camp. I'm sorry.
No,
Or David
I thought David, oh my
Robertson.
God.
Maybe move with him, sign David
Drew
Robertson.
Robinson.
Well, it's
Yeah.
probably D-Robs.
You know,
I know, he's with the Giants. I was with him for a couple
but
of years there.
he came up with
kept-
this one.
he tried to make a comeback.
Yeah, I know. But you were talking with Daniel about what?
We didn't make a move. He's been optioned down. I should have started with him. the time of year. I got a lot of names going through my head right now.
Yeah. So, has anything changed because of the Gray and Bradford injuries with how you guys want to deploy, or when you want to deploy Jacob? You still want to keep him toward the back of the rotation? Or
He's going to remain toward the back, yeah. We still can slot him in that 4 or 5 hole. We think that's the best place to put him as we start the season, so that has not changed.
What is the plan for him today in terms of pitches, innings, etc.?
I think 4 innings, we'll see how the innings go.
Do you expect him to be at 75 by the time the season
That's
starts?
about the number, right?
That would be the number,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think you're right at the number. All goes well.
And would you, tentative plan, would you expect him to remain at 75 for much of April, or would you go up to 90? How would you do that?
We would climb, we would let him go up from there. A lot depends how he comes out of it, where he's at, but just like the other pitches.
So it won't be anything like you plateau him at 75?
No,
or
no,
two or
no.
three starts?
No. Now, with that said, if it's, just regular rest, then maybe, but he'll get an extra day. And that's the point of him starting in that 4 or 5 slot.
The other thing about how you deploy him, right, is you're going to have, whether it's Leiter or Rocker or one of the two, and Corbin or somebody else, those two guys have to be separated, right? You've got to give a day of separation between the guys that you know will be going short.
Sometimes you don't have that choice, so you have to remember that. But ideally, you would like to, have some kind of separation between guys who are a little bit more consistent. Getting you deep in the game, but we've talked about having guys who can give us some innings in the bullpen, more than one guy, so that would give us coverage.
Would DeGrom pitch one of the Royals games?
Yes.
That's that Monday, maybe?
He's got the second game, I believe.
The day before.
Yeah, he and Gray were going to piggyback until what happened with Gray.
He and who, I'm sorry?
Gray,
Would
till Gray got hurt.
Right.
Corbin be an option for maybe an inning?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about now. We have a lot of guys that need some work, some innings, so we got to work them in somewhere. We have not done that yet.
Okay. Okay, so 2 spots with multiple inning guys. You know who they are. Is Milner or Armstrong, can they get 6 outs if needed?
Yeah. Army's done it. Armstrong, Milner could do it. He's gone back to back. He hasn't gotten 2 innings yet.
Are you happy with where Adolis is now?
I am. I tell you, that's one of the pleasant, not surprise, but pleasant things to see this camp is his quick turnaround after he hurt his oblique. He came back. He's a different player. Hitter. He just had a different outlook on where he was at because he was battling this new adjustment, and that's the thing about when you make adjustments in our game or probably any sport. Sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. You got to power your way through it and have the conviction to press on, and he's done that, and he's tweaked it a little bit, and now to see where he's at. That ball he hit last night, he had 2 strikes on him, so he's got good balance. He's showing better discipline, but yet getting good swings off. He's driving the ball, and that's what he was missing before. He got in that 2-strike battle mode, with no strikes on him, and that's not who we want, it's not who he wants to be, and so he's made some changes.
His emotion obviously is a big part of who he is as a player. Does that be a negative as well?
It can be, it can, you know, part of our game is having emotional control, and that's how you handle a 162 game season, because you get on that roller coaster ride, and he can get a little down on himself at times, and so you have to remind him, you know, how much he means, you know, to the team, well, to the crowds, the fans. He's a fan favorite. They love what he brings, his passion, his enthusiasm, and you know, we need his energy, and so and he knows that, but you don't realize it sometimes. So you know, just occasionally you have to remind him.
But that was an issue last year, I think.
I think it was. I do. I think once he started a downward trend like he did, because he got off to a pretty good start, and he had ambitions of hitting so many home runs. And this is the tough thing about setting these goals, these lofty goals, and then you start seeing where they're almost impossible to reach, and then you start pressing even more. And so, I think that's took a toll on him, you know, and he started fighting himself, and you know, it's a hard enough battle to face a pitcher, but now you're battling yourself too, and it compounded the damage.
But at least he didn't set any lofty goals this year.
50.
I know offense was kind of down for you guys across the board last year. How much can production out of the DH spot this year, whether that's Jock or whoever else rotates, kind of?
Oh, it'd be
this offense?
huge. We were missing that last year. No doubt. We just didn't get the production that we needed from the DH spot. You know, of course, year before, you know, ran into a hot bat there, and that's guy that usually hits in the heart of the order, and I thought we were missing that, and so Jock's going to provide that, and of course, I haven't determined who's going to get most of those at bats, you know, off a left-hander, but you know, we have, you know, Jonah certainly is a candidate, or Higgy.
So are you going back to that lineup from last night? Are you really thinking about Jake Berger hitting eighth?
Well, you look at that lineup, you know, we're so right-handed in one little pocket there, you know. And I told Jake, don't look at this as your a-hole hitter. So I'm just looking at some things here to maybe break up the similar type hitters, you know, that provide the slug and, you know, make it easier in the pitcher. So that's why Carter was mixed in there, to break that up and just give us an added dimension in that part of the order. He's going to hit second, lead off for second tomorrow night in Peoria. So just taking a look at him in different areas.
But I mean, I don't look at it as necessarily a demotion. I look at it as the depth of your lineup, where you could potentially have a 30 home run guy.
I know, and I'm sure he's looking at it going, you know, but that's to your point. Yeah, it shows you the depth that we have in this lineup, and if they have the seasons that they normally have, you know, it should be a fun offense to watch all year.
And the other thing on the lineup that I thought about last night was, you had Carter 7 and you had Jonah 9, right? I would have thought that you would probably have had Jonah in the 7 spot and Carter 9 to back-to-back your kind of leadoff type guys. Why am I off base there?
Because you usually are, that's why. But no, seriously. Yeah, you could go that way. A couple of reasons. One, you know, I think Carter's a run scorer. You know, he you know, with the speed, gives you speed in front of Berger and Jonah. You put Carter down in the 9-hole, what you run into. Now you're making it easier for them, have an easier pocket to put a left-hander in that 9 spot. And you know, Corey, you got Marcus and Corey. Now, you know, with Jonah, who is stronger from the right side, that changes that a little bit. Guarantees you a little bit more times that Carter will see a right-hander too. You know, versus put them in that 9-hole where they're going to have a lefty going. Well, now they have to get through Jake, so trying to cover him a little bit as well.
Would opportunities
Does
for
this
Carter?
make sense?
That makes sense, yeah.
Okay.
Slow down, Bruce, slow down.
Does that also, if where Carter would hit, does that give him ahead of Berger and Heim more opportunity to run than it would if he's hitting ahead of Marcus and Corey?
Not so much in front of Marcus, but maybe Corey. But so yeah, you don't want to take that away. To your point, yeah, sure, yeah, that's what you want. You want him running. You want them aware of the fact he may run.
Have you got your lineup in your head already? Are you still tinkering with it?
Pretty much, I have it in my head, but I'm still tinkering a little bit. Yeah.
Had it on your card last night.
Share with the class.
Huh?
I said share with the class.
Well, you saw what it could be last night
Well,
or today.
For Josh Young, when you think about just the time that he spent off last season, you know, how important were these bats throughout spring training for him?
Yeah, I think similar to Carter, these are needed at bats. When you miss a lot of time, it's just not that easy at Major League pitching. So, you know, these guys need reps. It's how you get better. And so you get that time taken away. At his age alone, again, I mentioned Evan, it does slow down the development a little bit. You can take all the swings you want, but if you're not facing Major League pitching or quality pitching like AAA Major League pitching, then you know, you got to catch up. You're gonna have a little rust there, and so no, these are important at bats, and so you know that's why you know some of these guys today, Wyatt and Carter will stay down because Wyatt missed them at bats in spring. They're going to get ramped up on ABs against minor league pitching today. Before I leave, I want to do the same thing with Young. So you probably see that on Friday.
So, I'm sorry, you see what on Friday?
See Young go down and get at bats in the minor leagues.
Okay.
You know, what have you thought of him over the last month or so?
Well, I love him. I love JJ. I mean, he's done a great job at third base. You know, he's in a little skid right now with the bat, and which he'll come out of. You know, just again needs reps, but he has really played nice third base. He had a game against the Aids. I mean, made some really nice plays there. He's getting a lot of action for some reason. He's getting as many ground balls as anybody, which is good for him. I love his first step. At the end of last year, you could tell he didn't quite have his legs, and now he does. So he's just moved. He's moving around so much better, and so he's in a good place. We went to high-five him when he made contact the first time up last night. Yeah, he was pretty excited too.
To go back, one thing on the lineup, like if whether the rest of the club includes Taveras and Pilar, Taveras and Haggerty, whatever, and you've got Higashioka as your other catcher, does the way you kind of deployed things last night just make it easy? Whoever's playing center field that day ends up pretty much in the 7th spot, and whoever's catching ends up in the 9th spot?
No, not.
Okay.
I mean, again, we'll look at who's pitching and numbers and things like that come into play, how they're swinging.
Okay.
But it's pretty close, though. But yeah,
Well, you're not going to have Peterson in there a lot against left-handers. Would probably be
Right.
that would be the one thing that
Right.
would move people up,
Right.
right?
but you know, hey, they get hot. Some guys cool off, and so that's an area where you'll see the lineup get moved around a little bit more than the top of the order.
But you'll use platoon options more this year than you did last year.
Oh, without question, yeah. And what's really encouraging is how Leo is swinging against lefties. He's had some good at-bats yesterday in the minor league game. He smoked the ball to center field. I like where he's at. He's laying off those, breaking balls down in the dirt. And, he's getting some good swings.
Could he be your everyday center fielder if he's that much better against lefties?
Could he be? Well, yeah, That's a tough thing to say because of Evan. You know, Evan could be our everyday center fielder too. You know, but whoever is the fourth outfielder will be getting a lot of playing time.